Hello and welcome to the Pickup WNBA podcast. I'm your host, Cathryn Niker.
And I'm your other host, Freddie Rivas. What's up?
And it's episode 127, baby.
127. We did it. Holy guacamole. Check this out, folks. You got to follow us on all of our social media accounts at the Pickup WNBA podcast. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're not on Blue Sky. We might be. TikTok ain't happening at this point. Twitter, no worries. Dead as a doornail. But we also appreciate you finding us on all the platforms that you do find us. And guess what? We're going to keep shouting out this ACAST survey through the Sonar Network, which has been huge for us. A lot of feedback. A lot of people have found our pod through it. And so if you haven't filled it out, please fill it out. We appreciate it. Give us all the feedback you can. And if you know someone else that listens to the podcast, ask them to fill it out too, because basically it's like a data thing. The more data we get, the better it is for us and you as well, because we're gonna make sure that you get ads that are kind of like directed towards you and not annoying. They're all going to be a bit annoying, but less annoying.
Yes, I agree. Did you tell people where they can find us, or did we just go on and on about where they can't find us?
Find us on Instagram, YouTube at I did say it at the Pickup WNBA Pod.
Just making sure. Making sure.
And our subscribers for YouTube is just slowly but steadily ticking up. So shout out to our new subscribers and thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, Freddie, we can just jump right into it if you want.
Dive in.
Diving in. So we're gonna start off with a shout out to a friend of the pod, Seerat Soki of The Ringer. And she wrote this amazing article about the 11 observations of the WNBA season in its first 11 days. So we're not going to do all 11. Definitely check out the article for that. But we're going to pick, I guess, one each that we really wanted to highlight. Some we've already kind of mentioned on the pod, really patting myself on the back for that, and you as well, ourselves. Just shows that we're on the pulse,
Yeah, we're on the pulse, we're
on the pulse. Like they like she mentions Kelsey Plum. We've mentioned Kelsey Plum. We've mentioned the Washington Mystics maybe being better than people initially perceived, and that seems to be true. But a couple other things we wanted to mention here. So Freddie, why don't you dive in first? What team or player did you want to highlight from this?
So the final kind of point she makes is about the Atlanta Dream. People who listen to this podcast know that I'm very high on Ryan Howard. I think she's one of the best shooters in the W. This ticks every nerd box for me. This specific kind of momentum narrative that Seerat is sort of like focused her attention on. So it's about Carl Smesko. So she's calling it Smesko ball, which is already nerdy and amazing.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Yeah. So and there's a whole lead into it about she's comparing it to Succession. And I'm like, okay, I'm all over this. But the main sort of interesting on court focus here is, we knew that they brought in Smesko to pick up the pace and shoot a ton of threes. We also know that they got Bree Jones and Brittany Griner. So any basic basketball fan can put two and two together. It's like, hold on. So you want to be like an up and down, team that's just running and gunning and firing threes, shooters on the court. And you went out and got Brittany Griner, right? Sort of like one of the most iconic post players in WNBA history. And then you got Bree Jones, who's also an incredible post player in her own right, who's a sort of a mid-range queen, and just it just doesn't really fit, right? So through this kind of short period of time, she's breaking down like how it's going, and it's going pretty good. So the Dream are 3-2 as of this recording on the 28th, but the defense is working, right? They're covering, Gumbawale, Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark. They've been like the bigs have been sort of getting out there and keeping up, and they've been shooting pretty good from three. Jones has been kind of on fire, and Grinders have been like okay, right? But I think it's to me what's so interesting about this is kind of like an evolution thing that could happen, right? So you have this experiment of an idea with the coach, and this is also something we've seen happen in the NBA, right, and international basketball, where everything is heading towards more threes, faster pace, more threes, faster pace. So right now the Dream are headed towards a WNBA historic high, which is 30.8 3-point attempts a game. So like if you're a Dream fan, they are chucking. They're absolutely chucking, and they're not even really trying to score in the paint. They are obviously still, but like not quite what you've seen before, anywhere in the league. So how this goes, we'll see. Ryan Howard herself is shooting 10 threes a game, which is pretty insane. So
Shooting, how much is she making?
I just had the percentages up.
No worries, sorry, I caught you
Yeah,
off guard with that.
yeah. I don't know what I'll
She's making 1. She's 1 of 10. No, I'm kidding.
1 of 10. Imagine. I think like she's doing okay, but yeah, the attempts is pretty insane, right? Like 10 threes a game in a 40-minute game is pretty wild.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
inconclusive, right? This is a thing to watch out for. Is this going to fall apart? Is it a personnel thing? Is the team going to continue to buy in with Smesco? Like I love this sort of thing too, right? Because you got a new coach.
Mhm.
Anyone who just watched that show, Winning Time, that Winning Time had a bunch of those early Laker teams had that vibe of like just this like mad scientist coach who's like, you gotta trust me, and then if it works, amazing. But also like the players can very much turn on a coach like this if it doesn't go well, right? So
Right. Wow. Comparison to early Lakers. Did not see that coming.
yeah, I mean, listen, don't Jamie, who clips our podcast, don't clip that part because I'm like, I don't want to get aggregated to being like people being like the Dream aren't the early Lakers, but
I got aggregated into saying Chelsea Gray could be MVP without the context of the rest of the conversation.
you know what? I take it back. Aggregate me, aggregate Cathryn. Next time she calls her brother a shrimp, just put that on loop.
I'll send it to him. That'd be incredible. Well done, Freddie. That was very nerdy and fun for you. Fun for fun.
Well done, Freddie. That was so selfish, and our
Stop! I
listeners
don't mean that
will
at
not
all.
enjoy. No, I know.
No, we will enjoy it. I mean, and like I'm sure the people who listen to this who are Atlanta Dream fans will really appreciate that. I mean, I noticed too that they've been having like a good season so far and maybe exceeding expectations as well. So that's good. I mean, hopefully, Ryan Howard's healthy this year and we can see them have like a nice little playoff run because I feel like they've been poised to do that for a while. So
So
that would be really fun to see.
just to cap that point off for our listeners, Ryan Howard is shooting horribly from three, 26% a game. So, not great, but
So maybe the attempts could go down a few.
maybe, or maybe you stick with it,
All right. Well, I'm not going to say stick with it if you're shooting 20 something percent.
Yeah,
Stick
yeah.
with it in practice, maybe. I don't know.
No, you got to stick with it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move on. We're going to talk a little bit about the Fever. Yes, we've talked about the Fever before. But the latest developments here. So Caitlin Clark's out with this injury, right?
Mhm.
She's going to be out for 2 weeks. With was it an MCL strain? Do you have that
Quad.
right?
I believe it was
Quad
right.
strain. Sorry, my mistake. With a quad strain. And then I also read earlier this week, I mean, just, it's always a bit chaotic with the media around this team. That their ticket prices have plummeted for the next 2 weeks and stuff like this. And I feel like that's really unfortunate, going back to this article here, because Aliyah Boston, who's a phenomenal player and a superstar in her own right, I feel, or at least should be emerging as a superstar in this league, is having a breakout year.
Hmm.
And I feel like, why, if you're in the Indiana area, I mean, you've got a lot of excitement with the Pacers right now as well, but why would you miss out on this? So right now, Aaliyah Boston is averaging 18 and a half points a game, 10 rebounds, so she's averaging a double-double, but with a field goal percentage of 60%, as
Wow.
well as 2 blocks. Like, that is massive.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, with Caitlin out, she'll end up having more of an offensive load. Maybe that percentage might go down a bit without Caitlin on the court, but maybe we'll see her have, like a really big game here, and maybe, kind of put her name out there in the spotlight a bit more. But for, all the Caitlin Clark talk, which is, of course, well deserved, there needs to be more Aaliyah Boston talk as well, and she's absolutely killing it this year. Really happy for her. Nobody wins a title without multiple excellent players by their side. So it's great to see Aaliyah Boston having this leap year, and then really at the right time, which is what the article points out as well. Like, you couldn't have this happen at a better time if you're the Fever. So, shout out to Aaliyah Boston.
Yeah, let me just add to that, I think, I just, like, second all of your points with the kind of, like, the drama around the Fever and some of this, like, unfortunate narrative stuff, but I think for folks, like, let's say if you're someone who's sort of coming into the league and, like, yeah, your Clark's your favorite player, and it's like you completely have, like, a healthy, non-toxic approach to this. Uh Aaliyah Boston is truly incredible. So, right? So this is a first overall pick. This is a NCAA champion. She's the first player to win the John Wooden Award and the national championship since Breonna Stewart. Clear Hall of Famer, like defensive player of the year, SEC, and just like rookie of the year. And she came into the league 1 year before Caitlin.
Yeah, literally.
Right? So Caitlin is Caitlin, and she, I think deserves all the attention she has because she's just really just a generational player. But Aaliyah Boston is not like a traditional number 2. She's not a
Mhm.
traditional running mate, right? If you look at a lot of the other first overall picks in the W, they they're like the leader of their respective teams, right? Or, as we talked about last week, it might be like a Kelsey Plum, who was a first overall pick, but then she played with Asia Wilson and then just like happened to be part of a dynasty, right? So
Mhm,
I
mhm.
think that this is a player who's in year 3 who is really, really a special player. So yeah, I think and want fans to appreciate her skill.
Yeah, let's see more Aaliyah Boston, like, jerseys in the stadium there. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we have another update, if we're ready to move on to the next topic.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we have another update here. Opening day of the season, we had the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark foul. That's all I'm gonna call it because that's all it was. It was
Mhm,
foul.
mhm.
But then there were reports after the fact that they were racist comments being directed in Angel Reese's direction. The W released a statement saying there was going to be an investigation. We talked about the fact that there was no timeline on this. However, we did get some results. The Guardian posted about it. Shout out to the Guardian. saying that the W did do an investigation, and they essentially concluded that they couldn't, um, quote, substantiate claims that racist fan behavior took place during the game, which is basically saying that they reviewed video, spoke to, got fans, I guess fans who were sitting in that area. I'm not sure how that happened, the team and arena staff, and I guess weren't able to essentially find evidence of it taking place. Both the Fever, the Sky, Angel Reese have released varying statements after the fact, essentially thanking the league for doing an investigation. And one thing I'll say, Freddie, before you jump in, that I want to know is that Angel Reese said, obviously there's no place for that in our league. And she says, I think the WNBA and our team and our organization has done a great job supporting me going through this whole process. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Um, Freddie, what do you make of all this?
Um, yeah, so this is interesting because I think the negative part of it for me is that this might stoke uh that kind of like that Angel Reese villain narrative where people are frustrated because it's like this is, it's sort of like it was a claim, was an allegation, and then it's not substantiated. So I think it's going to, like, if you were someone who was sort of like not on her side, I think this is something that you could use. I'll say this, like I just like a, going to like defer to believing her. I think it's I
Well, yeah, of
yeah,
course.
just like as a person, I'm like that's just like my instinct is to believe someone when they say, something like that. Uh I also think an interesting part of this that I feel like I want to take the lead from the players is that they seem satisfied with the way that the respective franchises and the W has handled this. So,
Mhm, mhm.
in that regard, I'm like, okay, nothing here feels like tidy, but that does feel like a substantial point. And then the other thing is something you brought up last week, which is how is this going to be handled in the moment? Because I feel like we're going to get further with that in the future because the investigation, what was it? How did it happen? And if someone yelled something in the moment, you need to sort of like get on that. And, yeah, we talked about players kind of like singling this moment out, and then, we don't want to put it on the players, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the solution here is, I think it's not, you know, after the game, a player says like this happened, and they're like, okay, we're gonna like look at the footage and like see who bought the tickets, and we'll talk to whatever. And it's like, man, that just seems like you've already sort of lost too much time. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, I agree, and also too, like, if you're asking someone, like, days later, like, maybe they don't even remember, it was like Caitlin made a statement essentially saying she didn't hear anything, but also it was really loud in the stadium and, obviously fully supports the league and whatever investigations they need to do and, that sort of thing. Paraphrasing, of course. But, I just thought of something, Freddie, because I do stand by my point last week about how, like, these things need to be handled in the moment.
Mhm.
But I just thought of something, and that is like, oh, I hate myself for even thinking this, but, like, there's a world where that gets handled in the moment, and then it goes viral, and then other people start trying it.
Like a copycat thing?
Yeah, like, people will want to be on television or on go viral. That's so like, because that's kinda just like I would never do something like that, but that's just like the era that we live in. Like people just do terrible things to say they did a terrible thing and it got look at how many views it got, you know? I
I
hope we
thi
live in a
Yeah.
world that it would never come to that, but I'm just saying it's like it would have to be something that is like taken into some consideration so that maybe like if it's being handled in the moment, like the broadcast like cuts to a break or something, so you only have the grainy cell phone footage from like another part of the stadium, that sort of thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that, that's always a scary part when you kind of are, like, holding people accountable and thinking about, like, copycat stuff, but I think that's where you just sort of gotta do your best to not give them press.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
this is, like, an extremely dark reference, but, a couple years ago, there was, like, a horrible shooting in New Zealand, and um, the former, I forget what her name is, but the former prime minister of New Zealand, who was awesome. She like made a very big point to make sure that like no media reported on the they
Mm.
reported on the victims' names, but the um yeah, like the murderer, like no one ever got to know their name.
Yeah,
And
which I think we should do like across the board.
it should be sort of like standard practice, right? But, anyways, that's, like, obviously, like a wildly like, those 2 things are
Yeah,
so,
that's
so
a very
different.
extreme example, but
But in
yeah.
the same way, it's like so let's say something, someone says something horrible in an arena, right, to Angel Reese. It shouldn't be like, I don't wanna know that person's name. I just want, like, a bunch of security guards to go over and be like, "Hey, we're gonna escort you out, and, there's 8 of us, and there's 1 of you, so, awesome. So we're not gonna and then, like, the cameras aren't on the person, just sort of like, maybe comes back from the break, and they're just sort of like, "Oh, yeah, so, someone was escorted out of the arena because they, yelled something." Anyways, game on. Like, I think, like, it's sort of just like, you don't get to be famous, like, you just, like, get to get
Yeah,
credit.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that to me is where this needs to go. And then the other thing I'll say is I feel like you wanna deal with things in, like, a systemic way. However, the I do hope that they're paying some attention to major pressure points, right? If it's an Angel versus Caitlin game, maybe have a bit more, like,
Mm.
be aware of some stuff that might go down. If, like, with Brittany Griner, like, some players
Like
are gonna.
anyone versus Caitlyn, honestly.
Sure, but I know, but I mean, just like Brittany Griner in general, right? Like, I feel like, there's been
Yeah,
a lot
like
of.
we had that airport incident, like
Exactly.
the season she was
And
back
then
and
the
stuff.
hotel
Yeah,
thing that
yeah.
happened in the summer. So, like, I think
Yeah.
with with certain players, you're gonna have to make sure. Yeah, like, like, I'm sure certain celebrities, even though it's like, oh, well, this person's famous and this other person's famous, like, there's different levels, right? So you have to make sure that if there's a like, Caitlyn had like a stalker last year, or whatever. So, like, I think
Mm.
you got to make sure that some people are just, they need more protection than others. So that, I think they need to keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah. Completely agree. Okay, Freddie, I think it's time for the badass player of the week.
Badass player of the
Bum, bum,
week.
bow, bum, bum,
Bow, bow, bow.
bow.
She's a
Uh,
badass woman.
Freddie, who you got?
This was kind of tough. I think it's so early in the season. There's a lot of bones you can throw. But I'm gonna go with Jonquil Jones. So a couple things I look at right away: efficiency and how well they've done in the week. So still undefeated, the Liberty. Right now, she's through the last 4 games, the second most efficient player in terms of plus minus. The Cloud is 17.3 and Jonquil Jones is 14.8. So she's got in 28 minutes a game, 17 points, um, 10 rebounds, like just under 10 rebounds, just under 4 assists, a half a steal and 2 blocks, and then also is shooting 47% from three, 50% from the field, 68% from the line. So just you're seeing everything from Jones, like very efficient, very refined game, just a very complete player who, we were talking about like, Boston and Clark, right? Like, I think for anyone who's not super familiar with this Liberty team, it's like they have two MVPs on the team, and Sabrina Ionescu and Cloud.
Yeah.
Like, this team is so stacked, and so yeah, Jonquel Jones. Like, it's not because like no one on this team is going to lead the league in any category, but that's just because they're sharing, and it's just such a good team. So Jonquel Jones.
That's awesome. Yeah, I absolutely love this Liberty team this year, and they remain the team to beat, right?
Yeah,
Like it's still technically, it's still May. We'll be into June very soon, but they are absolutely still the team to beat. So shout out to her. I'm going with a player we haven't talked about a lot on this podcast, but definitely deserves some love, and that is Brittany Skies of the Washington Mystics. Brittany, it's her 8th year in the league, and her numbers have absolutely skyrocketed this season so far. She is averaging over these last 4 games 22 points a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. And that is up from 12 points that she averaged last season.
huge.
So she's doubled her points, or just about doubled her points. She's got 2 more assists a game. Her rebounds are about the same, and was a bit shy of averaging a steal last year. So absolutely huge numbers from her. Um, Obviously, like, I think it just has to do with, like, this Mystics team being, better than we thought, and she's got a lot of really great young players around her, and it just seems like it's been a really great fit so far. So shout out to Brittany Skies.
Shout out to Brittany Skies. I love it. Sort of a non-traditional player of the week, but hey,
Mhm.
it's early time, so it's kind of like anyone's season, right?
This, the WNBA stats thing that you send me, I
Mhm.
don't know if this is like a full-on leaderboard or not. Like, it doesn't say it that way, but it seems to be
Yeah.
like listed in that way, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. She's number 3 on this list. Like,
Yeah.
she's the 3rd name. So it's Nafisa Collier, Kelsey Plum, then Brittany Skies, then Asia Wilson, Alicia Gray, Nneka Ogwumike, Dearica Hamby, Breonna Stewart, Caitlin Clark, Aliyah Boston. That rounds out the top 10. I don't know how they do this list.
I think what I
Is it
sent
just
you.
points? Is it just points?
Yeah, so if you click on, different categories, like, so
So
she's
she's averaging the 3rd highest points in the league
yeah,
right now?
through the last 4
Buddy,
games, yeah.
buddy, that's absolutely massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
Wow, very impressive. Okay, Freddie, FFQ.
Okay, FFQ, let me just settle a, uh,
Freddie's fun question.
fairly fun question. Bum, ba bum, bum, bum. I'm just gonna say that, I missed just correct my own, mistake there. I said the Dream were 3 and 2. That was true at the time of Sirit's article, but
Oh.
it's actually they're actually 4-2 now. So
Okay,
so
okay. Well done with the live
yeah,
updates.
live updates, right? So here we go. So FFQ. This is very unfortunate, but me and Catherine, there was like a sort of like a tempo welcome. There's this outdoor market
Mm,
in Toronto called Stacked Market. And but basically just lots of like local vendors and like, like think like sort of like stuff you can buy. And it's kind of very quaint. And so the Tempo took it over. There was Tempo gear, there was games, there was like all these panels and stuff. And that made me think, Catherine, Freddie, if it was our job
mm.
to create an event that created a buzz for a team that is coming in, and I think we're going to focus on the tempo here because we're not from Portland. But what would you do to create buzz? Like knowing it's still a year out, but you want to get people kind of like revved up.
Well, first of all, no, we're not from Portland, but once Portland announces their team name, we're definitely going to talk about Portland.
I know. I wouldn't.
Just for the record, I just want our listeners to know we're not
Thank
going to
you.
not talk about.
I wouldn't mind. I'll say this, Portland, if you're listening, I wouldn't mind any info. The last update we got was that they were going to pick a team name in several
First of all,
months.
our like the Toronto name got leaked. That's why we know it. We might not know it
That's true.
otherwise, even
I wonder if
still.
Portland's like, we actually handle our business well.
I mean, it was the WNBA.com. It wasn't
Yeah,
them.
it was a drop down.
Anyway, so they had this really nice event to kind of, 1 year out before they debut, although it was like slightly later than the 1 year timeline, but regardless.
Okay.
What would you want me to go first?
Yeah.
What would our event be? So for me, I think I would do something very similar. Like they had this like really nice outdoor market. I personally would not describe it as quaint. Quaint is like more like kitschy, antique almost.
Okay.
This is more like cool, like stacked as like shipping containers converted into like stores and stuff like that.
Yes.
But anyway, the element that I would add to an event like this, and this might surprise you, Freddie. This might surprise you a little, is that I feel like people don't dance enough. We need more dancing in society, in life. It doesn't have to just be like drunk at a club, you have to dress up, there's cover, it's all, it's all stupid and BS. We just need more dancing in life. What you do is you get like a good DJ, and then you got to hire some people to just show up as like, "Oh, I'm at this event." And then they start dancing, because no one wants to be the one who starts the dance floor unless they're like drunk at a wedding. Okay, but this is like Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, right? How do we get people dancing on a Saturday at 3 p.m. outdoors? You get people to start the dance floor, and then other people will just kind of slowly, get in there. We need more dancing, just more movement, more fun. That's what I would do.
This is why we play the game. This is the answer I'm looking for. Okay? Wait till you hear my answer.
Kathy,
Sucks.
call us.
My answer, nothing. Okay? But
Come on.
No, it's gonna be all right. But some weeks you show up, you get outclassed. And that's okay. Because FFQ, we're striving for
I
greatness.
struggled like a few weeks ago with one of our questions.
Oh yeah, you struggle a lot. It's all good.
Wow, I struggle a lot now, apparently.
You don't. I just had to say it because
The one time you struggle. Oh, you struggle a lot though.
Oh, yeah, you struggle mightily. No, you're good. But listen, I love dancing. I love impromptu dancing. If it's like a musical, honestly, no thanks. But
I'm
I
not
love
suggesting Tempo the musical.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Toronto wants a team. Toronto wants a team. What
Hey.
do we call the team?
We're a bunch of losers. No, really, like, listen, impromptu dancing, like, that's like, I'm thinking Michael, I'm thinking Janet, I'm thinking Bjork. That's really, really good stuff.
I love Bjork.
Olivia Newton-John, let's fucking go. This and then also like professional dancers. I want to let our listeners know that I love to dance. I love to dance. I think I'm pretty good, but I'm not good at following steps. But
so yeah, I need to clarify something. Sorry, because you just reminded me. I'm not talking about hiring professional dancers. I'm talking about hiring everyday. Yeah, no, I apologize. This is not what I meant. I meant everyday people like yourself who are not going to be shy to start a dance floor. because
I
it needs
see.
to be accessible. It needs to be something that people feel they can join in. Because if they're professional dancers, then everyone's just going to stand around and watch them. That you don't want. You want people to join in. So we need fun people like Freddie to
Okay.
start a dance floor.
That's great. That's great. But let me just yes and this by saying, quick little story here. Uh, I was in a Flostradamus featuring Lil Jon music video quite
What?
some time. Yeah, that's right. It's quite some time ago. You can look it up, listeners. It's called Prison Riot. Features a whole bunch of people from the Toronto comedy community. It's a really fun, insane video. And in the middle of the video, there's like a dance circle, and there's these sort of like briefcase looking people, and they're all professional dancers. So this was filled with comedians. This whole video was populated by comedians. And these dancers, like the comedians, we went wild. Okay. We were dancing and we were like already giving it.
Wait,
But when
what
these,
year was this?
oh man, this must have been like 2012. It's a long time ago.
Okay.
Um, I'll look
It
it
was
up and
before
see.
I knew you. That's why I had to ask because I was like, I
Yeah,
don't think
I'm
that
going to send it
happened
to you
when
too,
I knew
Catherine.
you.
Um,
Please.
I'm in a yellow suit. I got some nice moments in there. It's a good time. Um, yeah, Flashadama. So here we go. YouTube 9 years ago. It was this though. That's okay. There's a video there's a 10-year-old video as well. So
Hilarious.
um,
So you're
anyways,
dancing in the music video.
dancing in the music
Are
video.
you wearing a yellow suit?
That was my costume. It was good
Do you
times.
still have it?
No, fun story. I was doing a bunch of jumping jacks and I split that suit at the ass. So,
You didn't repair it? You just threw it out?
wardrobe was very mad. They were like, "What happened here?" And I'm like, "You asked me to dance. I danced. No regrets."
Oh, you destroyed it on the set.
Yeah, I
Oh my god.
was dancing my heart out. Okay.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
yeah. Catherine, I'm gonna send you the link right now. But my idea, we'll just move quick because it's not as good as yours. It's all food based. Okay. So there's all sorts of different like food festivals that happen
Mhm.
around Toronto. And if I'm the tempo and I want to generate buzz, I want to get people out. I'm getting like the 30, 40 best food vendors and I'm putting them in a park, and it's like all tempo everything, and we're just getting together, we're having a huge cookout, and we're chilling, and it's going to be amazing food.
Mm.
Come for food, always will come for food, and then once they're there, you're in the mix with like tempo stuff.
Okay. I mean, free food is never a bad idea.
It's never a bad idea, right?
But you're also, like, giving people free food, and then you're like, "Have you heard of women's basketball?" And they're like, "Can I just
Yeah,
take my food and run?"
that's what I mean. Like
I
this is
wonder if
why.
they had, like, tempo decorated, like, cupcakes.
There
That
you
would be
go.
really cute.
Now that's a yes and I'm looking for. You're
Yeah.
bringing it today.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Wow,
you.
stop acting like I don't bring it every episode. How dare you? How dare
I
you?
I
Why
haven't.
don't you go juggle, Freddie? Why don't you go juggle?
Guess what? I'm gonna learn to juggle. Okay. As soon as we get
That's what
to,
we should have at the tempo event, Freddie juggling
we're gonna
on
pick.
a dance floor. I'll dance around you. And when I
We're
say dance, I mean very casually.
Yeah.
While you juggle. That's really your vibe.
Well, we make all sorts of wild promises to our listeners. So let me say, we'll make up some sort of subscriber amount on YouTube, and then if we get there, I will teach myself to juggle, and I will juggle on the podcast. Okay.
Oh my god, that's actually such a good idea.
I'll do it. I'll do it. So let's me and Catherine will
I've
brainstorm.
done crazier things on podcasts, I'm sure.
We'll brainstorm on a number. We'll figure this out.
I
And
just pictured you trying to juggle, like, where you're sitting right now, and then your arm, like, hits the wall
yeah.
again.
Ow, Engelbert. Ow, that's part of the juggle. Uh, that's a deep cut for anyone. We're always trying to get
Oh,
hired
man.
by Engelbert.
Engelbert, call us.
Call us,
We're
please.
here,
Hire us.
we have good ideas.
Uh, before I know we're gonna wrap this up, but I just want to. I'm always gonna shout out our fantasy league and
Yes.
Reese's Pieces, who we lost our first week, which
No
is fine.
kidding. It's 'cause we're
Um,
late to the draft.
yeah, well, I need your help. We're eighth. We're eighth in the leagues out of
Oh,
10, so we're doing okay. We're doing okay. But Reese's Pieces is number one, and
nice.
we're up against Reese's Pieces. So pray for us, really. They got a
Yeah,
pretty
it's
good
not gonna
team.
be a good week for us, but,
So
we'll
check this team here.
maybe we'll eat some Reese's Pieces. I haven't had
So
those in a long time.
Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, Angel Reese, Brianna Jones, Kiki Iriafen, Tierra McCowan, Tiffany Hayes, Temi Fagbenley, Maureen Johannes, and Janelle Salon. I don't know Janelle Salon really well, but yeah, this team's nasty. So
Yeah,
we're
Reese's Pieces knows what's up.
yeah we're gonna take an L this week. It's all good.
Alright,
Uh,
I like this. You should shout out the name of the team we're facing every week.
yeah, I'm going to.
Who did we face last week?
Last week we played and lost to Elevate Your Game.
Ooh.
And
Hi,
so
Ellie.
Ellie has Ryan Howard, Courtney Williams, Neka Gumake, Elizabeth Williams, Brianna Turner, Sabrina Ionescu, Melissa Smith, Nisha Morrow, Erica Wheeler, and Odyssey Sims. So they're actually in second place. So we have a tough start to our sketch.
Yeah, tough start,
It's all
you
good.
know?
It's all good,
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you everyone for listening and for tuning in. Always appreciate you. Remember to like, subscribe, leave a positive review, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. Thank you again, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Peace.
Bye.